Hey guys, this is E10 Sun from SunBros. Today I'm really excited to be bringing you guys this brand new video, but before we get started with that, I want to make sure I remind you guys on how to get entered in for a chance to win our guaranteed skin giveaways that we do every Sunday night during our 1-hour question and answer live stream. All you gotta do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and comment below with your in-game name and which skin you'd like to receive on either the NA or EU servers under 700 vouchers. And remember, the more videos that you do this with that are uploaded each week, the higher chance you have to win. Alright guys, it's time to get started with our Wisp how to build video, and as always we're going to be starting today in the hero page as we take a look at Wisp's abilities to figure out what her strengths and weaknesses are and how best to build her out. Alright, Wisp's passive is Ignite. When Wisp HP reaches 0, she ejects all of her remaining bombs, dealing physical damage and slowing enemy movement by 25% for 1.5 seconds. First ability is Loose Cannon. Wisp charges forward and enters barrage mode, firing bombs with her normal attacks for 5 seconds, each bomb dealing physical damage to the target and surrounding enemies. It also increases Wisp's attack speed by 10% while active. Now, the base damage goes up, the cooldown stays at 10 seconds throughout, so it's good to note. Second ability is Barrel Bomb, 10-second cooldown to start, goes down to 8 seconds. Base damage and explosion damage go up. Wisp lights the fuse and rolls out a barrel bomb. The bomb deals physical damage to enemies along a path and slows their movement speed by 30% for 1 second. The bomb explodes when it reaches the target destination or runs into an obstacle, dealing more physical damage to enemies in the surrounding area and stunning them for 1 second. And damaging an enemy hero will reduce the skill's cooldown by 3 seconds. So you get the 8-second cooldown on level 6. Then you get 3 seconds reduced from that. I'm talking about every 5 seconds being able to roll a barrel bomb. And last, but certainly not least, the ultimate Shock and Awe. 40-second cooldown to start, goes down to 30-second at level 3. And Wisp bombards the target area 6 times, dealing physical damage each time. The damage from the bombardment can critically hit and deals 50% additional damage. This ability must be channeled and has a maximum duration of 6 seconds. Moving or using another ability after 0.6 seconds of channeling will interrupt this ability. That includes any movement impairing or hard crowd control that you may get from the enemy team. Alright, so now having gone through our abilities, and kind of just reading them over, glossing them over, and kind of getting another idea of what she's about, let's go ahead into the equipment page and we are going to take a look at a Wisp build. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys 2 builds as I generally do, one for the jungle and one for the lane. You are welcome to use the jungle builds in lane if you so choose. I oftentimes do, depending on the situation. With Wisp, I probably would if I played her in lane, which I do on occasion. But I'm going to give you guys the first jungle build now. Obviously, being that this is the jungle build to start off with, we are making a choice between 2 items, Soul Reaver and, of course, Scorching Wind. Now the difference is Soul Reaver starts at 90 attack damage, gives you 15% cooldown reduction. Additionally, you get the increased passive, or the unique passive Wild, which gives you attack damage, which increases your attack damage by 3 every monster killed, stacks up to 15 times for a total of 45. That gives this item 135 attack damage and 15% cooldown reduction. So pretty solid overall, just straight damage item. And then Scorching Wind gives you 15 attack damage, 20% attack speed, 10% lifesteal, and the passive, there's 2 passives actually. Firestorm, normal attacks place a mark on the target, dealing magic damage each stack. For ranged units like Wisp, it's only 75% of the damage, but it stacks up to 6 times. It can end up being somewhere around 99 for range units, around the 70-75 mark. And then the second passive is Wild, increases attack speed by 2% for every monster killed, stacks up to 15 times, which is for a total of 30%. So this item will end up giving you 50% attack speed, and that's really the base of what separates these two. Now, and after really contemplating and testing out both of those jungle items, the one that I ended up thinking and feeling was really the better item of the two on Wisp was going to be Soul Reaver. I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons. Number one, on a hero like Talanas, who enters her first ability and she has a really quick amount of time to get as many empowered shots off as possible, I would go Scorching Wind, where you get 50% attack speed. You're going to get a lot more shots off that are empowered. But let's look at Wisp again real quick. Her first ability, Loose Cannon, which is the one that empowers her auto attacks, or her basic attacks, is going to be in her normal attacks. It's going to be increased by 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a long time. And rather than getting off more attacks during that 5 seconds, I've actually found that it's better for Wisp overall to get off harder hitting attacks during that 5 seconds. Not to mention, one of the best parts of Wisp kit is her ultimate, which not only hits hard but also can crit. And I feel that Soul Reaver adds more to that ultimate, but it clearly adds more to the ultimate, no question about that, with Soul Reaver in hand over an item like Scorching Wind. So Soul Reaver is our first item that we're gonna go with. Then we're gonna go Boots, and it's a no-brainer here. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go Gilded Greaves as usual. Gilded Greaves is gonna give us some magic defense, some movement speed, of course, because they are boots. But the unique passive Resistance is what we're doing this for, and Resistance gives us 35% reduction in the amount of time or length of cooldown of hard crowd control effects that we're gonna get, or any crowd control effects at all. So if you're getting slowed, stunned, knocked up, knocked back, frozen, petrified, everything that you can imagine that happens to you. The boots, the Gilded Greaves boots, are going to reduce the amount of time that is going to happen to you by 35%. So if you get slowed or stunned for a second, you're going to get slowed or stunned for 0.65 seconds from here on out. So it's great on squishy heroes. It's just good on almost every hero in the game who is susceptible to crowd control. And that's most heroes who don't have some kind of massive crowd control break, like Shagnar or Xanis. Okay, then we're going for our third item, and this is where we start to really get strong with Wisp, and we're going to go to the attack section, and we're gonna not go far down. We're gonna build Clave Sanctity out, and it was a no-brainer whatsoever. 100 attack damage. You get movement speed buff when you crit. No big deal. Don't care about that. I mean, it's nice, but it isn't what we're here for. It's the unique passive critical chance, plus 30% on the crit chance, which is an absolute ton, the most in the game that you can get from any individual item. And that's what Clave Sanctity is all about. And 30% crit is going to give us extra crit on our normal attacks and our ultimate, which is one of the things that makes Wisp really cool, because our ultimate does a ton of damage, and it does even more when it crits. Alright, now we're moving on to the next item, and 99 times out of 100, there's only going to be one proper item to follow Clave Sanctity up, and that is going to be Slick Sting. And if you're not following up Clave Sanctity with Slick Sting, there better be a darn good reason for it, or you're making a massive mistake. Clave Sanctity and Slick Sting were made for each other, kind of like PB&J or Cal and me, or Cal and I is the proper English technically. Okay, 30% attack speed. It's nice to have, even though we didn't go attack speed on our first item. It's not that attack speed is not good to have, it's just that it didn't outweigh the pros of getting Soul Reaver in the 135 attack damage. Movement speed, nice. Crit chance, 20%, we'll take it. That puts us at 50%, and if we have the correct Arcana on, that puts us at 57% crit chance, which is already above half and it's legit. But it's that delicious, beautiful passive increase, not even a passive, increases critical damage by 50%. So if you have the correct Arcana on, you should be increasing your critical damage by 80%, and really starting to rock it out. So what we're gonna get here is we have 135 plus 100, so we have 235 attack damage. We have 30% attack speed. We have 57% crit with the proper Arcana that we'll show you later. And then increase critical damage. So now we're starting to rock out not only some really strong auto attacks, but some really strong ultimate attacks. Next, we're going to be moving on to our next item. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, I tried several different items at the 5th spot on our build. One of them being Spear Longinus. And one of the reasons I did is because, like I said, Wisp is a pretty, I'm gonna say, she's pretty squishy, and she seems to be easier for me to get targeted and killed on than most marksmen that I play. And I play all of them, so most marksmen. So Spear Longinus makes sense. It gives you attack damage, cooldown speed. That'll put us at 30% cooldown reduction, which is nice for the ultimate. Armor, and then a decrease in armor. And the reason why we go Spear Longinus over an item like, per se, Rank Breaker is because it's easy. You get a little bit of beefiness, a little cooldown reduction, but then you get the decrease in armor does work with her ultimate. Now, I did build this item a couple times, and I did ult whole enemy teams, and I was reducing all their armor by 250 in the blink of an eye. I mean, it's so fast, bang, 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 you know, it just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping barrages. And yeah, that sure is nice. It really is. And this is an item I really like on her a lot. But ultimately, the item that I felt was more useful on her to get to our goal of being a, you know, heavy damage sustained marksman is going to be the Beast. And I really like the idea of having earlier armor pen in some situations. But man, the lifesteal at this point in the game, 100 more attack damage, 25% lifesteal, giving us 235 attack damage. You're critting for 3,000 at this point in the game, and critting for 3,000 at this point in the game and getting healed for 25% of that is big time. You just keep getting healed, and it's just, the lifesteal is insane. It's too good to pass up 100%. So we're getting the Beast at the number 5 spot, and then last but not least is now this is a toss-up item. On the 6th item of the game, I found myself really wanting to go one of a few different ways. Now, I'm going to give you options, and I'm going to tell you what I ended up choosing. The first option is to go Spirit Longinus. Get a little armor, a little cooldown reduction, a little attack damage, and of course the decrease in target armor for your enemies. This is interesting, but ultimately, I don't think Spirit Longinus is a very solid 6th item. It just at the end game, it doesn't bring enough to the table. Option number 2 was Rank Breaker, 110 attack damage, and you get 250 armor pierce, which is a pretty good amount. Now, if you're playing against a team with only 1 tank or no tanks, Rank Breaker is definitely the way to go. I would go with Rank Breaker 100%. But lately I've been facing a lot of teams with 1 main tank, an off tank, or even 2 full main tanks. Just crazy amount of armor being built in games at the moment. And Rank Breaker, while is fine on them, it isn't as potent as Muramasa. So overall, it's not really a choice. I'm not saying pick this one or pick that one. I'm saying if there's one, evaluate in the game who's giving you the most trouble. If it's a tank, if a tank is really just screwing your game up or really just screwing your team up, they're really getting good engages, they're crowd controlling like beasts, and they just need to go down, they're really dominating the game, then go Muramasa. If it's squishies who are dominating the game, or assassins, marksmen, mages, or anyone like that, you go Rank Breaker. So it's a real flip of the coin. The only other alternatives that I can offer you here is you could go Fenrir's Tooth and just get a crap ton of extra damage. If you are really on a solid team where you're going to have a good opportunity to just attack the squishies of the enemy team and never going to have to worry about anyone else, not a bad way to go Fenrir's. Fenrir's is always going to be some crazy damage. I still prefer personally Rank Breaker, and then Devil's Handshake is the next one, because that brings you up to 77% crit chance. And then attack speed, you're at 80 now. And then you're going to be at, you can gain 5 stacks of 10%, so you get 50% more attack speed. You can get up to 130% attack speed, which is just crazy. It's a lot of attack speed. Ultimately, I think the build I have on screen right now is the best way to build her. If I was to sell my boots, I would either buy Muramasa for more armor pierce if I needed it, or I'd buy Devil's Handshake probably, just for the sheer more crit on my auto attacks, my normal attacks, and of course my ultimate, and the ability to just attack so freaking fast and melt things with that lifesteal, and just, it's pretty crazy. Now this brings me into this. So this is the jungle build. This is it. Alternative build for lane, if you do not want to use the jungle build in lane, which you absolutely can, but that's something you decided you don't really want to go that route, then this is the second build, and it is a little bit different. Now, I do approve of Spirit Longinus as the number 3 item. I actually think it's really solid. So in this case, we're swapping out Spirit Longinus for Soul Reaver, which is not a bad option. And since we're getting it at the 3rd main item spot, or the 4th spot in the build, I like what it brings to the table at this point in the game a lot. And I appreciate, it's just a great item at this part of the game. Now, you're still taking lifesteal with the Beast, and then you're going to end up Devil's Handshake. Now, this build is going to hit much less hard, but you're going to be a little bit more tanky, and you're going to be able to attack super fast throughout the game. I mean, this is a solid lane build. I like it a lot, and this is pretty much both of my builds the way I like them. I would give you an alternative, but I really didn't like the alternatives. I went a really heavy attack speed build, which I could build out for you here. Let me show you my heavy attack speed, just so you could try it out. Let me know what you think. I mean, it won't give you any, it won't harm you at all to try it out. So I went the Scorching Wind, I went Gilded Greaves, I did indeed go Clave Sanctity, and then I went Slick Sting, and then I went Devil's Handshake, and then Rank Breaker or Muramasa. Now this one is giving you 50% attack speed from Scorching Wind, 20 from Slick Sting, 20 from Devil's Handshake, giving you a total of 90% base, right? And then you get, it stacks on Devil's Handshake for 50% more, giving you a total of 140%. So the potential attack speed you're getting from this build is really nasty. I think I may have misspoke on the attack speed from this build. You're getting, or this build rather, you're getting 40% attack speed. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I apologize. So no, we are talking about 60% plus 50 for 110 plus 50 for 160. 160% attack speed is right below the highest possible limit of 200,000 or 200% attack speed, which is going to be really solid. This build did some really decent damage, but ultimately I felt it took longer to kill everyone with this build than I wanted it to take, and it ultimately just wasn't worth it to me. It also really reduced the quality of her ultimate by a lot, and I wasn't willing to risk that because her ultimate in a team fight is just disgusting. Just disgusting. So this is build 1. This is your standard jungle build. This is what I would use in lane if I were you. You can always work your stacks up by stealing some enemy jungle, or getting Seagull and Bat here and there, and maybe later on in the game taking one jungle guy, one jungle creep or whatever. This is in lane build. I actually think both builds are very solid, and they both are going to work really well. It's just about preference. And then let's go ahead and talk about Arcana. Arcana is a really easy choice for me. I'm going the 80 crit route for Rampage. Oh, you know what? I said 80% earlier on the crit damage with the Arcana. It's 86%. 10 Rampage, 10 Assassinate for attack damage, movement speed, and of course, Skewer with the attack damage and armor pierce. So, really solid Arcana set is going to give us, let's see, total is 7% crit chance, 36% crit damage, 1.6 or 16 attack damage, 10 movement speed, 64 armor pierce, and another 9 movement speed. So we're getting a total of 25 attack damage, 64 armor pierce, 10% movement speed, 7% chance to crit, and 36% crit damage. So it's a really solid Arcana set. And then as far as talents go, obviously, if you're going with the jungle, you got to go Punish. If not, though, I would definitely recommend to go Heal. Is probably what I would recommend. Just Heal, something simple, easy to me. You could do Flicker if you really wanted to. She has a dash, though. I don't really see the point of that. And if you really want to go crazy, she's actually a hero that I would consider going Roar on. 60% attack speed. If you got the build the main build that I showed you, you go Roar. Man, 60% extra attack speed for free. You just hit the first ability, you go to town. That's pretty nasty. But yeah, that is it, guys. Let me just do a quick recap. Our Wisp build, our number 1 build, honestly, the one I recommend is this one right here, in lane or in jungle, but this is the jungle build. And the in lane build, if that's what you really want, is this one right here. But I've tried them both out. I really like both builds. I think they're solid, and I think you're gonna love them too. So guys, give them a try out and leave me a message in the comment section letting me know what you think about the builds. But thanks for watching. We got a lot of new content coming out this week. We're going to be hammering out a top 10 plays of the week from me. We're going to be doing Xennial Hero Quick Look, Xennial How to Build video. There's just so much stuff going on right now. So keep an eye out on the SunBros channel for all the latest, greatest news. And thanks for watching, guys. And as always, till next time.